This week, we're learning the Sikha of Shabbos Parshas Ki Savo of Tavshin Nun Aleph. We're going to be discussing an overview or a summary of the Sikha. Of course, it's encouraged that everyone should take the Sikha and learn it in its entirety. In this Sikha, the Rebbe explores the mitzvah of Bikkurim and how central the mitzvah of Bikkurim is to all of Torah and mitzvahs and to all of Yiddishkeit. The Rebbe in this Sikha begins by discussing how we find in our parsha something very interesting. A very big part of our parsha is Moshe Rabbeinu speaking to the Yidden and making a bris, making a covenant with the Yidden on all of Torah and mitzvahs with many, many psukim, telling us about the importance of Torah and mitzvahs and how we're going to keep all of Torah and mitzvahs and so on and so forth. But that all comes right after the parsha begins with a mitzvah of Bikkurim. How a Yid would come to the Beis HaMikdash and bring from the first of his fruits as a present, as a gift to the Eibishter, put it down in the Beis HaMikdash, etc. Says the Rebbe, since the command and the bris, the covenant that is being made for all of Torah and mitzvahs is coming as a continuation to the mitzvah of Bikkurim, the Rebbe says there must be a special connection between the mitzvah of Bikkurim and the fulfillment of all of Torah and mitzvahs. Furthermore, says the Rebbe, the fact that the parsha starts with the mitzvah of Bikkurim, and we know that the beginning of anything is always the most important and leads us in and explains to us what it's all going to be about, especially when it comes to matters of Kedusha and matters of Torah. Definitely it has to have a shaykhus, it has to have a connection to the whole topic that's being discussed right after the mitzvah of Bikkurim. So we need to understand what is that connection between the mitzvah of Bikkurim and the fulfillment of all of Torah and mitzvahs. Seemingly, the mitzvah of Bikkurim is done in a very, very limited way, in a particular place. It's only one specific mitzvah. It only applies in Eretz Yisrael in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, and it applies with the Shivas HaMinim, and so on and so forth. How does this all fit with being something so central, or as an introduction to Moshe Rabbeinu warning us and promising us about the fulfillment of all of Torah and mitzvahs that need to be done in all times and in all places? Or as Rashi even explains, not only in all times and all places, but that every day all of Torah and mitzvahs should be like brand new in our eyes. How is this all connected to the mitzvah of Bikkurim? The Rebbe is also going to explore about the name of the parsha, Parshas Ki Savo. Ki Savo means when you come into Eretz Yisrael. Seems to be only a technicality, seems to be only an introduction to the mitzvah of Bikkurim when you're going to come into Eretz Yisrael. That's when you're going to be fulfilling the mitzvah of Bikkurim. The question, however, is why is this the hachana, why is this the preparation, the opening to everything that we're going to be speaking about, as if this Ki Savo is something so important? In order to understand all of this, the Rebbe explores the mitzvah of Bikkurim in itself, how we know that this is a mitzvah that's giving thanks and praise to the Eibishter for the fruits that we have, for Eretz Yisrael and so on, and the Rebbe compares it and contrasts it with other forms of giving thanks to the Eibishter. Of course, a Yid always needs to be giving thanks to the Eibishter for everything that he has. A person has to be grateful, a person has to be thankful, and this is something we do on a very, very regular basis, starting with, of course, our Moida Ani in the morning where we thank the Eibishter. We say various different brachos, berches hanenin, where we're thanking the Eibishter for our food and for all the pleasures we have in our life. So this idea of being grateful and thanking the Eibishter is really a pretty common thing in Yiddishkeit. Furthermore, says the Rebbe, even Umois HaOlam, even the Goyim that believe and recognize that the Eibishter is the creator of the world, they also have this idea of thanking the Eibishter. Now this is especially true when we recognize the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov that's explained even more through the Alter Rebbe, the fact that the Eibishter is creating the world constantly every single moment, The Eibishter is giving to the person every single moment. When a person thinks about this brings him even to greater feelings of gratefulness and appreciation that everything that's going on all of the time is as a result of the kindness of the Eibishter, and therefore, of course, he has to be thanking the Eibishter. So in what way is Bikkurim different? But the Rebbe explains Bikkurim, there is something different about Bikkurim, because the person over here is expressing his thanks, not only with his words, but with a very, very concrete action. Over here he's taking his fruit, and the first of his fruit, he's bringing that to the Eibishter, putting that down in front of the Eibishter in the Beis HaMikdash. And this expresses that not only is he thankful and grateful to the Eibishter, but the appreciation and the realization that La Hashem ha'aretz u'mloya, that everything belongs to the Eibishter. The Yid does not suffice just by recognizing that whatever he has comes from the Eibishter, so all of his richness and all of his possessions comes from the Eibishter, but what he is in essence saying in the mitzvah of Bikkurim is that even now, after I have all of my belongings, it still belongs to the Eibishter. And therefore he takes his fruits, he brings them and he puts them down, Lefnei Hashem Elokecha, he puts them down in the Beis HaMikdash, and he leaves them, so to speak, in the reshus, in the domain, in the possession of the Eibishter. And the Rebbe says that this idea of bringing Bikkurim, Lifnei Hashem Elokecha, to bring it and put it down before Hashem, and he leaves it there, this permeates to the depths of the person, that the person feels that everything he has belongs to the Eibishter, and that this expresses itself, as said before, not only in his thoughts or in his speech of being thankful to the Eibishter, but it also comes down all the way to his actions, that he puts the fruit down, he leaves it there, and he announces happily, B'koil rom u'v'simcha, as the pasuk says, V'yonisa v'yamarta, that he announces to the Eibishter, this is all yours, and thanks the Eibishter for all of this. So far what we have is a bit about the mitzvah of Bikkurim and how it differs to other ways of thanks to the Eibishter. Again, Bikkurim is doing an action, what we may call put your money where your mouth is, doing an action, not only thanking the Eibishter, but giving the Eibishter, recognizing that this all belongs to the Eibishter, even after I have it, not only before I got it, that I got it from the Eibishter, but even right now, it continuously belongs to the Eibishter. In the next part of the Sikha, the Rebbe goes on to show what the idea of Bikkurim is in Avodas Hashem and what it represents in a more spiritual level within the Yid himself. And then the Rebbe is going to bring it back to this point of Bikkurim being a Maaseh B'Poel. And the Rebbe says we know that Chazal tell us that the Yidden themselves are called the Bikkurim. Bring a pasuk, Bikura b'teina b'reishisa ro'isi aviseichem. I saw your fathers like a fig, right when it starts growing, Bikkurim. The Yidden are the Bikkurim of the world. The Yidden come before the world, just like Bikkurim is the first fruit, is what's brought to the Eibishter. In a similar way, the Yidden, we know that Machshavton Shal Yisrael, the Eibishter's thought, so to speak, of having Yidden, comes before everything, comes before the whole world. And that's why Yidden are called Bikkurim, they are the first. And as Chazal tell us on the pasuk, Bereishis bara Elokim, Eis hashamayim ve'esaretz, what did the Eibishter create the world for? Bereishis, Beis Reishis. There are two things that are called the first, that's Torah and the Yidden, and the pasuk that's brought about the Yidden is that Reishis Tvosei, they are the beginning of the produce, they are the Bikkurim. This idea that a Yid is the Bikkurim is relevant not only just generally to all of the Yidden as a whole, to all of the Neshamas Yisrael, and as the way they are above, but rather this is relevant to each and every Yid and how the Yid is as an individual down here in this world. As in fact the Chazal tell us that Kol Echad V'Echad, each individual person has the obligation to say, Bishvili Nivra Ha'olam, the whole world was created for me. Every Yid is that precious Bikkurim for which the Eibishter had created the world. And the Rebbe says, just like Bikkurim in the literal sense, you would have to bring it lefnei Hashem elikecha, put it down before Hashem, it belongs to Hashem. So too is true regarding each and every Yid. Since they are the Bikkurim of the world, so where is the real place of a Yid, so to speak? If the place of the Bikkurim is in the Beis HaMikdash, where is the real place where a Yid belongs? That is lifnei Hashem elikecha. In other words, a Yid and the Eibishter are all one. Every single Yid, no matter in which situation he is, needs to be found, needs to be present. Lifnei Hashem elikecha, he is the Bikkurim. What does the word lifnei mean? Before Hashem elikecha? The Rebbe says that itself actually has two meanings. Lifnei can be translated as before, meaning close to Hashem. We can also understand the word lifnei as the pnimius of Hashem. Because, what does pnimius mean? Although the Eibishter created everything else, but everything else we call more chitzonius, more external, because everything else is a means to an end. Everything else is there to serve another purpose. Whereas the whole world was created as a means to help the Yid do his avodah, but the Yid, he is the pnimius, he is the point of it all. And that's what we mean when we say the Yidden are the pnimius and they are the Bikkurim, they are the purpose for which the whole world is created. Says the Rebbe, from all of this we understand that the fact that a Yid is lifnei Hashem elikecha, if a Yid is in fact standing right before Hashem, this needs to permeate each and every aspect of the Yid's life. Whether he's involved in godly things, in matters of learning Torah and doing mitzvahs. But not only that, even when he's involved in completely mundane things, seemingly, matters of parnasa, but since these are matters of reshus, of mundane things, but of a Yid, they are part of the Bikkurim. If that's the case, they too need to be permeated with Kedusha, with the highest level of Kedusha, as would be appropriate for one who is lifnei Hashem elikecha, right before Hashem. In other words, if we are the Bikkurim, if we are the best fruit, the first fruit of Hashem, if we are right before Hashem, then that includes all of our thought, speech, and action. Everything needs to be permeated with Elikus. You may sometimes think there's one very little thought or a little thing that I'm saying, what's the big deal? But if it's part of the Bikkurim, then everything counts, everything matters. Again, if we were only as a means to an end, then we could start thinking about how important every detail is. But if we say that the Yid himself is the goal, is the purpose, he is the Bikkurim, then every single detail in the Yid's life, every single moment in the Yid's life is all part of the Bikkurim. It's all lifnei Hashem elikecha. And therefore, when we say b'shvili nivra olam, that the world is created for each individual Yid, it also means for at every given moment, and in any given moment, it is for this moment, for this action that I am about to do, that all of the world is standing on, that the Eibishter created it all. And if that's the case, we can come to appreciate how important every single moment in the Yid's life is, every single thought, speech, and action, what he does. Says the Rebbe, now we could go back to understand what happened by Bikkurim. Originally we said Bikkurim is different than other ways of thanks to Hashem in the fact that we are actually putting down the fruits. We're not only saying words of praise and thanks, but we're actually putting our fruits, giving it to the Eibishter. Explains the Rebbe, now that we understand that the Yidden themselves are the Bikkurim, if that's the case, what we're saying is that every single aspect of the Yid, again, not only his thought and his speech, but every single aspect of the Yid, whether the spiritual or even the physical aspects of the Yid, are all being permeated with this idea, it all belongs to the Eibishter. All of the Yid with all of his things. That means, when we are fulfilling the mitzvah of Bikkurim, we are revealing down here in this world that what's a Yid? A Yid is all about being connected to the Eibishter. The Yid is the Bikkurim for which the whole world was created. Now, in the beginning of the Sikha, the Rebbe wanted to understand that Rebbe was asking, what's the connection between Bikkurim and all of Torah and mitzvahs? But now that becomes very, very simple and very, very clear. It is the Bikkurim, the concept of Bikkurim, that's revealing the whole purpose of what Torah and mitzvahs is all about. It is all about revealing that a Yid down here, even as he is a neshama beguf in a physical world, but what's he all about? He is one with the Eibishter. The Torah and mitzvahs are helping reveal that aspect of the Yid. So again, Bikkurim is all about revealing. It's all about saying the Yid is the tachlis, the Yid is the purpose. Every aspect of the Yid is holy and standing before Hashem. And that's exactly what all of Torah and mitzvahs is all about. Helping us reveal our neshama, our connection to the Eibishter. Now we can understand why Bikkurim comes as an introduction to Moshe Rabbeinu telling us and speaking to us and making the covenant with us on all of Torah and mitzvahs. The Rebbe now takes all of this a step further. And the Rebbe says, till now we were speaking about how Yidden precede everything in the world and the world itself. But now the Rebbe takes it a step further. Chazal tell us that Yidden come not only before the world, but even before Torah itself. Chazal tell us two things came before the world, Torah and the Yidden. But out of these two, which one comes first? From the fact that Torah itself keeps on speaking about Tzavos B'nai Yisrael, Daber El B'nai Yisrael, etc., that itself is a proof that even Torah is there for the Yidden. The Yidden precede even Torah itself. Now, of course, the Rebbe says it does not mean that the way Yidden precede Torah, then Chas v'Shalom, Torah and Yidden are two separate things. Of course, Torah and Yidden remain always connected. And as can be seen in the word Bereshis, Beis Reshis, right from the beginning there's these two things, Torah and the Yidden. Of course, in essence, they are one. But rather, the point that Rebbe is saying is, the Rebbe says it's like Siba and Mesubav. What's the cause and what's the effect? In other words, the bottom line is within Torah itself even, it's all about the Yid. And that's why, for example, we know a concept that Pikuach Nefesh, if it's about saving the life of the Yid, Doiche Kol HaTorah Kula, that's going to push away everything else, even in Torah. Because the bottom line is that we need the Yidden to fulfill the Torah. We also know the concept at Afal Pisha Chata Yisraelu, which again brings out the same idea. A Yid has the ability to do tshuva. That means even though he transgressed the Torah, so seemingly what's his connection? And yet he's a step beyond that because Torah itself is there for the Yid. In a sense, the Yid is higher than the Torah. Nevertheless, says the Rebbe, of course, within Torah and the Yidden, of course, the way it works is that they go hand in hand. The way it normally works is that Torah is the one that helps the Yid to reveal and to bring about his connection to the Eibishter. And of course, a Yid naturally wants to do what it says in Torah. That's itself connected to the essence of the Yid. That as we learn that in essence, deep down, every Yid wants to learn and do the mitzvahs and so on and so forth, because every Yid is connected to Torah. So normally, a Yid's connection to the Eibishter will be revealed through Torah. But then there are those times where we could see that even without that connection, the Yid is still in essence connected to the Eibishter. As said before, for example, where this is seen is in the idea of Teshuvah. The Rebbe says, with this we also understand a famous saying that there's Tlas Kishrin, there's three knots that tie with each other, the Torah, the Yidden, the Torah and Hashem. And often the question is asked, if there's three things tying together, then you have two knots. The Yidden are connected to the Torah to Hashem. So how are there three knots? But of course the explanation is there's a third link. There's a third knot. There's a third connection. That link between the Yid and the Eibishter directly. So in other words, what's really happening is when we look at Yidden, there's two levels. There is a Yid the way he's a neshama down here in this world, and he has the Torah to help him reveal his connection to the Eibishter. But once a Yid is connected to the Eibishter through the Torah, what now comes to the surface, and we now see that there's something even deeper. There's the link between the Yid and the Eibishter that goes even beyond Torah. And that's expressed, and where that can be seen, sometimes down here in this world, as said before, is in things, for example, like tshuva, or say, for example, a little child that hadn't started learning Torah yet, or perhaps a yid, that nebach, he's, as we call it, a tinuk shenishba, someone that never had a shaykhus to Torah and mitzvahs because of circumstances completely not up to him, but yet his connection is always there with the Eibishter, because ultimately the yid's connection with the Eibishter goes even beyond Torah. So really we have two modes of avodah in a sense. The regular mode that goes through Torah in a yid's connection, and then there's sometimes in certain situations we could almost say the yid is bypassing that, and what's being revealed, linking this back to the beginning of the Sikh, is that the yid is really Bikkurim. The yid is really the first thing that comes in the world, in a sense even higher than Torah. The Rebbe goes on in this Sikha and explains that all of this, the power of the yid, and how a yid is so strong in essence, that for him the whole world was created, and that he comes higher than Torah and so on and so forth, is really expressed even in the things the yid says while bringing the Bikkurim in front of the Eibishter. The Torah goes on to speak about the things that one needs to say. We speak about Arami Oivedavi. We speak about our ancestors went down to Mitzrayim in a very small group and became a tremendous, tremendous nation. We then speak about Yitzias Mitzrayim, the terrible things that happened to us in Mitzrayim, and how the Eibishter saved us out of Mitzrayim. What are these stories telling us? Here are stories that are even before Matan Torah, and again bringing out the power of the Yidden. How amazing the Yidden are, how great the Yidden are, how strong their connection to the Eibishter is, even before they have Torah. We have an Arami Oivedavi, people that want to destroy our nation. Yaakov Avinu and the Yidden in Mitzrayim, way back then in the house of Lavan and in Mitzrayim, and yet there is the Yitzias Mitzrayim and all the miracles that the Eibishter does for the Yidden. Again, all of this reveals how the Bnei Yisrael, even before Matan Torah, even before they have a clear connection to Torah, they precede everything. B'shvilam nivra olam. The world was created for them, for their purpose. The Rebbe now goes on and explains another geschmack detail regarding the mitzvah of Bikkurim, which is related to all of this. The halacha is that the Bikkurim, the fruits, the samta batena, need to be put in a basket. In fact, the halacha is that if it was cheap baskets, then even the baskets itself were given away. Poor people brought cheap baskets, were given away to the kohen as well. And the Rebbe explains this in the most beautiful way. V'samta batena means what? V'samta batena means that Bikkurim is the Yid's neshama, batena, the basket, is the guf, which is coming to emphasize that even as the neshama is inside of a guf down here in this world, he's also lefnei Hashem elikecha. He is put before Hashem. He is the Bikkurim of the world. And the simple basket that remains by the kohen, remains by the Eibishter, represents that not only is the Yid in a guf, but dafka, the lowest things of this world, our gashmi is the guf, also becomes one with the Bikkurim, is also put down in front of Hashem. Says the Rebbe, based on all of this, we can now understand another very, very important idea in the connection between the Bikkurim and all of Torah and mitzvahs. Since, as we said before, Yisrael v'kudshabrichu kulachad, since the Yidden are the Bikkurim, the Yidden are one with the Eibishter, so the Eibishter is making a krisas bris, the Eibishter makes that covenant with the Yidden that makes sure that even down here in this world, as we are here, we remain connected to the Eibishter through our Torah and mitzvahs. And with this, we could also understand another beautiful thing. Rashi tells us by the mitzvah of Bikkurim on the words Hayoim Hazeh Hashem Eloikecha Mitzavacha, in connection, following the mitzvah of Bikkurim in connection to the commands in the parsha. So Rashi tells us that B'chol Yoim Yiyu Beinecha Kachadoshim, every single day Torah and mitzvahs need to be like brand new. How is that possible? What does it mean Torah and mitzvahs are like brand new? So the Rebbe says, When we are speaking about other things in the world that are not Yidden, as we said before, they are only a means to an end. If something is only a means to an end, then there could be many, many details which lav dafka are going to be so exciting. Lav dafka, they are in and of itself so important, and therefore not necessarily you could have the chayas every single day as if it's brand new. But when we speak about a Yid, what we said was that the whole world was created for the Yid. And every single moment in the Yid's life is so important. Everything was created for this moment in the Yid's life. For this machshava dibur u'maisa in the Yid's life. In other words, if that's the case, every moment is a davar chodesh. Every moment is a new experience. Every day is a new day. Every moment is a new moment. The whole world was created for this moment and for this particular thought, speech, and action of the Yid. If that's the case, of course, Torah and mitzvahs are brand new in the eyes of the Yid. B'chol yom yiyu beinechet chadashim. And based on this, the Rebbe says, now we can go back to the other point that we discussed in the beginning of why the parsha is called Savo, Ki Savo, which simply, again, is just a technicality. The Yid is coming into Eretz Yisrael. But again, if it's part of the avodah of a Yid, there's nothing that's just coincidence or along the way in the avodah of a Yid. Every single detail of the Yid is a goal in itself, is an end in itself, is not just by chance. And that's exactly the point of what the word Savoi means itself. What's the word Savoi mean? Coming in. That means in everything that you're doing, Savoi, you need to get involved with your whole pnimius, with your whole life. Every aspect of you has to be involved because everything is created for this moment and for this thought, speech, and action. After explaining this whole idea of what Bikkurim is, how precious every moment in a Yid's life is and every deed that he does, and that's what Bikkurim is all about. The Yid is the Bikkurim, the perfect, beautiful first fruit. The Rebbe now goes ahead and explains this all in connection to Chodesh Elul. We all know that Chodesh Elul is the Rosh Hashanah Ani L'Doidi V'Doidi Li. This is a time where there's a special closeness between the Eibishter and the Yid, the famous mashal of the Alter Rebbe, of the Melech Basoda. What does Ani L'Doidi V'Doidi Li in itself mean? I am to my beloved and my beloved is to me. This is speaking about the love, the special bond and the love and the connection between the Eibishter and the Yidden. Again, because the Yidden are so chashuv, so important in the Eibishter's eyes. And it's like the Melech coming out in the Soda and showing a smile to every individual. And everyone could ask for whatever they want. And it doesn't matter whether the person is a Talmud Chacham, he learns Torah, or does mitzvahs. Every single person can go out there and greet the king, and he greets everyone with a smiling face, as we said. Again, like the idea of Bikkurim, that every single Yid is so precious and so dear to the Eibishter, and not only him generally, but every detail in his life. From all of this, the Rebbe says, we have a very, very important lesson in regards to our cheshbon nefesh, the accounting that we need to make when we're holding in Chodesh Elul about the avodah of the past year. If we take into consideration that every Yid is the Bikkurim, that we need to be bringing in front of Hashem in the Beis HaMikdash, and that this needs to penetrate every detail of our life, and every day of our life, not only Shabbos and Yom Tov, not only Chodesh Elul, or special times of the year, Chodesh Tishrei, but all year round, we are the Bikkurim. If that's the case, we understand how careful we need to be in every single thing that we do. Even though you may argue it's only one thought, speech, or action. What is the big deal in comparison to all the thought, speech, and actions that I have in my whole life? But when you think about this properly, you realize that this is part of the Bikkurim, this is part of that basket that's being put in front of the Eibishter and the Beis HaMikdash. And the Kohen is watching you, is looking at every move that you make. Surely then one will try to be strong, put in the effort that every single detail, even the tiniest thing that he's doing, will be done in the most careful way, paying the most attention to everything, even to the little details. Of course, if this is true all year round, how much more so this is true in the Chodesh Cheshbon, the Chodesh Elul, how especially careful we have to be these days. And the Rebbe goes on to say that in addition to our avodah by ourselves, of course, we have to be influencing others in the same direction, that they too should be doing their avodah b'shleimus. And the Rebbe also speaks over here about the importance of helping other Yidden in another way as well. And the Gashmi is the sense of helping them with their needs for Yom Tiv, for all of those that need it, and also Rosh Hashanah, and so on and so forth. Towards the end of the Sikha, the Rebbe now also comes with another important lesson regarding the Geula that needs to come immediately according to all of the signs. Of course, Ki Savo el Haaretz, coming into the land, the Tachlis HaShleimus is of course going in Begeula HaMitis VaShleima. And since this is the most important thing and the most timely thing, according to all the signs, the Geula should have been here a long time ago already. So therefore the Rebbe says, when we are Nisa v'Yamarta, when we are now standing and calling out in front of Hashem, and in Chodesh Elul, when we have the opportunity to greet the king, and the king greets us and gives us all of our requests, so there needs to be a special demand, Ad Mosai, that the Geula should come already b'Poel Mamash. And since it's a Yid, it's the Bikkurim of the Eibishter, saying this to the Eibishter, v'Yonisa v'Yamarta, then surely this has the power to bring the Geula b'Poel, similar to when the Yidden cried out when they were in Mitzrayim. There's no doubt about it that the Yid could be poil through his demand and through his request to bring the Geula. And here the Rebbe says a fascinating thing. The Rebbe says, even though we know the Pizgam of our Rabbeim, that loy b'rtzoneinu, it's not with our own will that we went into Golus, and it's not with our own will that we'll be able to get out of this Golus. It's the Ratzoin of Hashem. Says the Rebbe, but that's only so long as the Yid's Ratzoin and Hashem's Ratzoin are two separate things. There's what we want, there's what Hashem wants. But as a Yid is one with the Eibishter, which is the whole point we were speaking about before, the Yid is the Bikkurim. And especially Chodesh Elul, when there's that Anila Doidi v'Doidi Li, that special love between the Eibishter and the Yidden. A Yid doesn't have any of his own Ritzoinos. As the Mishnah says, Asay Ritzoinoi ki Ritzoincha, make his will like your will. Kadesh Yaseh Ritzoincha Ritzoinoi, so that he will make your will like his will. That is, the will of the Yid is the will of Hashem. The will of Hashem is the will of the Yid. And therefore, a Yid has the power to be poil through his Ratzoin and demand for the Geula to immediately nullify the Golus and bring the Geula, take it from Yad Mamash. The Rebbe says, we all know that the Golus, this is not the place for a Yid. The place of a Yid, as the whole point of the Sikha till now, is Lifnei Hashem Elekecha. Yid is the Bikkurim, he belongs in the Beis HaMikdash. It's the Yid's avodah to reveal in the whole world how the Yid is the Bikkurim to Hashem, how Yidden and the Eibishter are all one. And therefore they have the power to be mevatel the Golus and to take all the good things out of the Golus by revealing the Eibishter in the Golus. And of course, this is the whole idea of tshuva that comes through the Yerida in Golus. And the Rebbe says, v'yiratzoin, that through this v'yanisa v'yamarta, through a Yid crying and screaming to the Eibishter, that Anna, please Hashem, Rachem, have Rachmanos, take the Yidden out of Golus already, bring the Geula HaMitis VaShleima de Mashiach Tzidkenu. There's no doubt that that will happen. And the Rebbe says, v'yanisa v'yamarta, we should all say out loud that this should all be teikef miyad mamish. Once again, encouraging everyone to learn the whole Sikha in its entirety, and may the Eibishter help that all of the inyanim within the Sikha and the Geula HaMitis VaShleima should be mekuyim teikef miyad mamish.